I went to fiance's house to make her a surprise, instead I caught her cheating. I go to her house, as a surprise, just to spend time watching TV and stuff. It's in the evening and sunset, so no light really in the house when I go in through the garage. As I walk in, lights are off for the most part, but I look down the hall, and see a dim light coming in from the cracks of her bedroom door. As I step closer, I can hear what's going on, so I peer in the crack of the door and see her going down on some dude. My blood is boiling. But I had severe anger issues years ago and learned to control myself, learned to use my anger for other things. So I steady my heart rate, walk away from the door, not making a noise. They never knew I was looking. I walk into the living room and start pacing. Just thinking the thoughts why and how long she's been lying to me this entire time. It dawns on me. I'll wait till they're mid-duck and tell her it's off. She's got a predictable sex routine, so I knew it would be a while before they actually started going at it. So, I walk into the kitchen, which is on the opposite side of the house. They will not be able to hear anything I do in the kitchen, unless I deliberately make noise. After this adrenaline rush, the anger, the thoughts, my stomach starts to growl. I hadn't eaten because I was planning on getting food with her so we could have dinner and a movie. So, I open the fridge. Now that I look in the fridge, the thought of food upsets me. But habits die hard, so I look in the pantry. Oh, I think to myself as I see a box of popcorn. The though of popcorn does not upset my stomach, in fact the thought of buttery salty goodness seems to make my belly settle. I get a bag, pop it in the microwave. Luckily she has one of those costly newer ones that are nice and quiet, but the door latch is loud, so I carefully pull the handle so it doesn't make a loud click. I cook the bag. Shake the back, open the bag, sprinkle some white cheddar stuff in it, shake it some more. Pour into a bowl, and shake some more. I stand still for a moment to see if I can still hear this guy moaning in her room from getting head. Yep, they never stopped, so they never heard me. About a minute later, I walk into the living room. I take a few bites of popcorn, then I hear the ever-waited-for sound of the bed squeak that tells me a lot of weight just shifted to the middle of the bed. Someone is riding someone. Then it dawns on me. Perfect, I think, I know what to do. Remember when I said her sex routine was predictable? Well, I know her physical ability well enough to time her noise. She isn't a screamer per se, but she can be loud. She also has an insecurity issue, so she prefers the lights off, so when I look down the hall, sure enough, no light through the bottom of the door. So, I time it. I listen to the rhythm of her moans and the squeaking of the bed. I time it so I can open the door mid-moan so they won't hear the latch. I peer in and sure enough she's riding him like a beast, also facing the headboard, which means her back is toward the door. I back out, look down the hall, lights are off. I open the door again mid-moan and slowly step inside. She is obscuring his line of sight to the door. I sit in a desk chair she has by the door, and just start eating popcorn. It take a minute for the smell of popcorn to fill the room. She stops, turns the nightstand light on, turns around. They see me there with one food crossed onto my knee, bowl of popcorn in hand, nodding my head. I say don't stop on account of me, just seeing if she'll do anything different for you that she wasn't going to do for me. I take a few bites of popcorn. I see the dude's eyes getting wider and wider, her face is red and full of shame. Then I say after finishing a bite of popcorn, looks like she is doing the same thing she did to me last night, quite entertaining from this angle, but I said it looking at her in such a way that I knew would trigger her insecurity. I got up, left the bowl of popcorn in the chair. Closed the bedroom door. Took the few things of mine I left at her place and walked out. Just as I'm getting my car into gear, he runs out and starts demanding to know who the hell I was. I say well, I was her BF. I apparently didn't get the memo this evening that it was over. He starts to shake like a scared dog. I didn't know she had a BF. Yeah, apparently she lies about things while putting my hand on the side of my mouth as if to cover a sore. Drove off. She sends me texts a few hours later saying things from sorry, then later, it's your fault, then apologizing again, saying it was a mistake, that dude meant nothing, to again saying it's my fault, it wouldn't have happened had I not expected to see me tonight. After that I blocked the number. My wife who cheated with her boss to get a promotion get a demotion from me to the garden tool. I gave her an hour to take her stuff from my curb. My wife's phone was buzzing one night after midnight. She got up to go to the bathroom. I've never looked at her phone or through her things, I trusted her implicitly. Something was weird about it though, so I looked to see if her phone was on the night table, but she has taken it with her. So, I went into the bathroom, and she was texting. She put the phone on the floor face down to hide it. I picked it up and instantly I knew. I started to shake. I now realize I was in shock. She started to say, "Let me explain, and I will always love you." I left our home and went and got my mother. She was the only person I thought I could get. Initially I got her for moral support, but now I'm so glad she was there as a witness. After getting my mother, I went back to our condo. I told my wife to get out. I still had her phone. All she wanted was her phone back. She must have asked for it 20 times. She also didn't want to leave. She kept insisting she would just sleep on the floor or in the third bedroom. I finally convinced her to leave. This was about 1 a.m. She came back later around 4 a.m. and insisted she stay again, but again I kicked her out. I was yelling at this point. The next day she came back and said I had grabbed her arm and left a bruise, but this was after she told me she would not allow me to file for divorce with adultery. In the 10 years, 6 married, there has never been any hint of offense, so it doesn't bother me much, except I am sure she has related her version to her side of family. 5 days later she phoned me and said it's been 5 days and I should get over it. She has been aggressive and cruel. She has not apologized or shown any remorse and says that I dictate everything. I know it's classic defensive maneuvering, but it still hurts. She has the support of her family. I am sure she has not been honest with them. The problem is we have children, and I cannot simply cut off contact. I have filed for divorce and will be going through with it. If she had shown any remorse and quit her job, the other person works with her, I would try to reconcile for the children, but her actions have caused so much pain and she has been so disrespectful I simply do not want to. The problem is I don't know how to heal without any remorse shown on her side. I want her to cry with me about the whole situation, but she obviously moved on long ago and has come to terms with her decision. I know in time I will be better off, but the fact that I have to see this person scares me. How do I not get triggered and have this anger and sadness does not show up every time I have to speak with her? We are currently doing week on off for the kids. But I also agreed for one FaceTime a week. I give her privacy when these calls are going on, but the last time I had to go into another room as well so I could not hear her voice 100% because it was giving me anxiety. How do I get past this hate and anger? It's been 3 weeks, and I know this pain is only hurting me. I wrote her a letter thanking her for our time together and saying goodbye. I also forgave her, not to get her back, but because I thought it would help me. I don't want to hate or anything else. But I realize it probably only helped her justify her actions if she is already forgiven. I just want to move on. I look forward to indifference, and I know I am the better person, but I also know based on her actions that shame and remorse are not going to get her to do the right thing. How do I accept this? I feel so devastated, and like I have been reading, it's simply my cross to bear. I want to scream to the world what a piece of garbage she is. She deserves to suffer, but I know the world enough to know that often good people do the suffering and there is no redress. I'm going to therapy, exercising, reading, taking care of myself, but I am so scared I will not ever stop hating. Help. Thank you for the responses. I have told her work, her partner was stealing as well, there are texts confirming that. Nothing has happened. She is vital to the business, so I can see them simply overlooking things. As well, I probably just sound like a vindictive husband to them. It's just another nail in my heart that she will face 0 consequences. The other wife knows about it. Her husband actually told her about the affair. At least she got that. I had to find out, or I never would have known. I spoke with the other wife. She has 2 young daughters just like I do. She decided to take her husband back. I don't know how she puts up with them still working together. I could never let myself be put in that situation, and I won't. But even after he ended it, or said he did, my wife was still going after him. Her text messages were horrifying to read. She damaged another family who also had 2 young daughters. She has just acted so cruelly. I spoke with my wife's mother today. She is as heartless as her daughter. She said things like it was just a little kiss. So, she has been told all these half-truths, but she willingly accepts them. She has always been like that though. I was trying to speak to her husband actually, but she picked up. So again, no consequences. I got an STD test on my 40th birthday to boot, quite the present. I will be getting a DNA test for my younger daughter. My oldest looks like me. I don't really believe my youngest is not mine, but nothing seems like it's true anymore. We were intimate up to the end. We kissed each other after coming home from work. We took the kids to the playground and all played tag and hide and go seek together. The night I caught my wife, we had been curled up on the couch sharing a blanket talking about our day at work. I caught her on a Friday. On Monday she sent me divorce papers through a mediation company. I have since hired a lawyer and will be proceeding with the divorce, but she has tried to frame it that the marriage was so bad, and the affair does not matter because she wanted to end the relationship anyway. I'm just lost. It's only been 3 weeks. I understand I'm still coming to terms with this. But I just don't know about the universe when people so blatantly get away with things. I have accepted if she hasn't apologized by now, anything she says will not help me heal. It's just so hard to accept. One day you are eating together as a family, the next your life is destroyed, and you have to shoulder the burden of everything. Thank you again for the responses. I know many people have gone through this, and even worse, and I feel true empathy for all of you. This is the worst thing I have ever experienced. I just don't understand what is going on. Well, I talked to her mother trying to get her to understand. It was a moment of weakness trying to get blood from a stone. She is as delusional as her daughter. Basically, she said the relationship was over so the affair doesn't matter. I told her, her daughter needed therapy, causing so much hurt and pain isn't a normal thing to do. So today the wife sent me her version of an apology. It was in an email. It's no coincidence that after 3 weeks, when I tell her mother her daughter has lied to her about everything as well, that I get an apology. It was laced with shared blame for everything. Just another projection, not surprising, I guess. I'm not going to respond to it. I now understand what I'm dealing with. Nothing I can say will get me what I want, and she is simply incapable of helping me heal. If anything, it has helped cement the fact that I just don't like her anymore, which is a really nice feeling. For the past 3 weeks, it has been the rejection that has really hurt, but in such a short amount of time, I've already started to become indifferent. I hope this feeling doesn't go away. A cold indifference is a beautiful feeling at this point. Anyway, thanks again for all the posts. I want to join a support group so badly, but everything is still shut down, of course. This has helped. I've learned that empathy is a true blessing when you are hurt. I should mention that yesterday, again in a moment of weakness, I called her boss at work and told him about the affair and the theft that was going on. I am sure he already knew about it by his response. So, in the end, she will suffer no consequences. I'm glad I tried though. It is not my responsibility to hide the truth. I will treat my children the same way. I told her I would never tell the children, but I realize now it's not my responsibility to lie to them to hide her actions. I don't know the right way to go about that yet. I'm sure they must be wondering. Any advice on that matter? I have all sorts of books for children dealing with separation, divorce, living in 2 houses, but how do you tell children their mother did something wrong? Especially when that person didn't try to rectify their mistake? I don't want them to be hurt or confused, but I refuse to lie if they ask. I also made a Facebook account. I'm not going to message everyone she knows, but the people who have always been kind to me on her side should know the truth. I still value what they think of me. I'm not going to roll over and let things be said about me. It's a fight I'm not looking forward to, but whatever, the truth still counts for most people, I think. Thank you for the posts. I will keep quiet with the kids. I've always known and have been able to do that so far. I'm starting to come back to earth, so I think the most dangerous part is over in terms of saying anything stupid. It still infuriates me that I had to tell the kids that mommy and daddy are both being silly. It's like a never-ending cup of garbage that I have to eat. Covering up for someone else's mistake when they don't appreciate it is something I'm just not mature enough to gladly do. Maybe this is one of the things that make you grow and become a better person. The whole thing is just so hard. As to the post above, thank you. I know being vindictive will do nothing for me in the long run. Vengeance only clouds my mind with negative thoughts. Again, I just don't have it within me yet not to lash out. I can see far enough ahead that anything I say will look petty in the long run, but I can't get past the feeling that she will be able to minimize the affair or hide it altogether from people. I know her consequences are that she will continue to carry this behavior into the future, but to be honest, that does nothing for me. If she ruins another relationship in 10 years, that doesn't help how I feel now. I'm just fighting with trying to be a better person. It is incredibly difficult to take the high road. Thank you to everyone for the support. Although it's only the internet, it means a lot to know there is empathy out there and wisdom. When I phoned, the HR department did not pick up, so I phoned the boss. I'm not going to phone again. If nothing is done, then that is that. Anything more will be pure vindictiveness. At some point I have to move on and retain my integrity. Yes, I want her to suffer and lose her job. Honestly, I want her to be run over by a train so I never have to see her again. But the reality is I will see her many, many times. She is the mother of my kids, and the only way I think I'll get through this is if I somehow find joy again to the point that it overwhelms whatever anger and hatred I have for her. I have spoken to the children. I talked about telling the truth and what keeping or breaking a promise means. My youngest keeps asking when we will all do stuff together again, and it's very hard to answer. I've told them mom and dad are not friends anymore. They are comfortable with the idea that there will be two homes, but I know they don't understand why. At this point I think I've said enough. I will just have to take the burden on myself so that they can be kids. My wife is now trying to get the childcare changed. It's been my parents for 6 years, so I hope the courts see through her cowardice. Just when I feel I'm getting back to earth, she throws something else at me. I have the kids this week, so that helps at least. I think I have a good lawyer. I live in Canada as well, so it's different than the States. I've been told by the lawyer the text messages I have won't do anything. I can take it to court, but it will just be a waste of money and time. The courts in Canada don't care about infidelity, and I cannot prove she is a bad mother otherwise. I have contacted her relatives on Facebook and told them the truth. Some of them will be disgusted, but it's more likely many of them won't care. She has no real friends, and we have no shared friends. I've basically done what I can, I think, to tell those around us who she really is. I do not want to be purely vindictive. I think that will only harm me. I have the text messages saved, and they do prove a relationship and possible intimacy. But I think if I send them out, people will lose respect for me. I don't really know what to do, but I know I have to move on with my life at some point. It's a terrible position to be in. As I've said before, her affair has left me with the burden of carrying the pain. Last night I saw a picture of the guy my wife had the affair with. I basically raged and put all her possessions in the dumpster. This morning I thought better of it and picked them out. I kicked her out of the house 3 weeks ago. I am thinking this weekend I will put her stuff outside and tell her she has a day to come get it, or I will throw it out. We are both owners of the house, so I assume I can get in trouble for this? I just can't stand looking at anything of hers anymore. Any advice? I also wanted advice on how to contact her extended family. I have sent messages on Facebook, but I'm not friend with any of them, so I don't know if they are even getting them. Some of the people have been genuinely kind to me and my children over the years, and I would like to say goodbye. I also want to tell them they will not see me again. Does anyone have any experience on how to do this? We are negotiating a buyout. I will be purchasing the home. I refuse to let her displace me after all she has done. If I put her stuff in a storage shed on one of my family's property, would that be ill-advised? I contacted the HR department. They told me it was inappropriate that I was calling and to not call again. They didn't want to hear about the theft. So that's that. I don't get anything anymore. I basically shamed her to make her leave. I literally stomped my foot on the ground and told her she would not be staying there. I then had my mother move in as a way to not only make it uncomfortable for her if she decided to come back, but because I needed the close support of someone. I also wanted help with the children, as well as a witness to be around. She has tried multiple times to come back, however. I have done my utmost to buy her out as quickly as possible. I have severed anxiety given the fact she could walk in the door at any moment. I understand the repercussions of contacting her employer. I know her affairs started and progressed at her work, so I hold them peripherally accountable. Mostly, I want people to know who they are dealing with. She has been accused of being mean at work, so I thought this would shed some light. I also know she is actively trying to hide/mitigate the affair, which damages me and my reputation. But I agree that in the long term it provides no benefits for me. I am just in such a dark hole at the moment. I am grasping for something.